Welcome to the 7th episode of the Swiftly Spoken Eras Recap, a countdown to the Eras Tour. For the last 7 weeks we've been recapping every single Taylor Swift era, going over each album release and subsequent tours and performances. In each episode, after giving a crash course to the era, we discuss which songs from each album we think might make an appearance on the Eras Tour, which is only weeks away from kicking off. In our last episode we discussed the highs and lows of the Reputation era and spoke about the importance of the Reputation Stadium Tour, both for fans to understand such a complex album, as well as for Taylor to understand where she stood in the music industry. It was during this time that Taylor began to write music for what would soon become her 7th studio album, Lover. Encouraged by the positivity and love she felt throughout the Rep Tour, Taylor decided to continue writing from an extremely vulnerable perspective, once again using her music to describe how she felt and her lived experiences. This time around, she established limits between her public and private life and was free to write about whatever she felt inspired her, without having to defend her craft or to be regarded as a trick or in a way for her to attack others. She was able to continue the trend established during the Reputation era of the music speaking for itself, seen as an art form, a way of connecting with her fans and to express her feelings without it attracting negative attention, which would lead to disruptions in her private life.
Lover is an extremely autobiographical album, which in many ways retells the story told in Reputation through more of a romantic lens and less censored lens. However, as Taylor described, it was much more than just a romantic album. It was an album that dissected and explored all the different facets and faces of love, a love letter to love itself. With that in mind, it explored many themes, for example, Taylor's love story, self-love and self-doubt, music dedicated to her family, and a string of politically leaning songs that broke the trend in Taylor tending to stay away from voicing too many of her political opinions so as not to mark a strong divide within her fan base. As for the chronology of Lover, like we mentioned in our previous episode, the Reputation era came to a quick close shortly after the tour ended. By February of 2019, Taylor had started to prepare for the new, brighter era, creating hype with gradual promotion and the drastic change from the black and white aesthetic to a pastel-coloured rainbow of images posted on social media. This led to the very infamous Me Countdown, which kicked off the Lover era. The album was then released later on in August of 2019, and it was her first ever summer album release, and it also marked the first time she had ever released an album so quickly to her previous work. However, since then, this has of course gotten much shorter, Taylor releasing 4 albums in the span of just over a year.
Unlike Reputation, Lover was a return to form in terms of promo. Taylor appeared at many different events to promote her singles from the album, which were obviously Me, You Need to Calm Down and Lover, while also mixing in deep cuts and older songs, for example, The Archer, London Boy and Holy Ground, for example. She also began to give interviews again, but strictly stuck to talking about her music and the message behind it. The promotional campaign was very carefully picked out, but allowed for Taylor to give us a taste of how the album may have been eventually performed live.
The Lover era also marked the fallout between Taylor and her former record label Big Machine, who had split ways amicably earlier in the year. Taylor had sought out a label that would allow her to own her own master recordings for her music, guaranteeing that from Lover onwards, her music would entirely belong to her. However, shortly after her departure, Big Machine decided to sell her masters without giving her proper notice or even having her have any say in the matter to Scooter Braun, a major figure in the 2016 debacle. So Taylor was understandably distraught at her self-written music being owned by someone who had made her life hell and would decide to re-record her previous 5 studio albums during this era.
The Lover album wasn't the only music that Taylor made during 2019. Now that she had a lot more freedom under her new record label, she wrote and released singles such as Christmas Tree Farm, Beautiful Ghosts, and Only the Young for a variety of different projects. Unfortunately though, after the announcement of the Lover Fests and the last single from Lover, which was The Man, the era was cut short due to the pandemic. Because of that, we never got to see what Taylor envisioned as a full performance of the album. However, we do know rumours and plans for what Taylor had in store, and if you'd like to hear more about that, then you can check out our episode about the Lover Fest and what could have been, where we discuss various rumoured set lists, leaked information, and possible guests.
In terms of performances, we can look at different Lover promotion from that era and see what we did get, which was mainly Taylor singing her main 3 singles from the album, which were obviously at that point Me, You Need to Calm Down and Lover, and also we did get quite a few performances of her promotional single The Archer. We also did get a few performances of music from Lover during larger promotional events like the Live from Paris, the Prime Day performances, BBC Live Lounge, Saturday Night Live, and all these had quite different forms and presented different songs from the album, both acoustically and with full-on production. So they give us a bit of an idea of what these songs could have been. Having said that, there are a few songs from Lover that have not been performed at all, that honestly, as we discussed in our episode that Cameron just spoke about, she probably was saving for the Lover Fests and for tour at that point. Those songs that we haven't had performances of are I Forgot That You Existed, Cruel Summer, I Think He Knows, Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince, Paper Rings, Afterglow, and It's Nice to Have a Friend. All of the other songs from Lover, we did get some type of live performance throughout that era and a bit beyond. So that is all we have to go off of, basically, with Lover. Obviously, we can't compare like we have been with a big stadium tour production, what she's favoured, what she hasn't favoured, because as you mentioned, the era was cut short. So with that in mind, thinking of these songs that we haven't got performances of and thinking of her big performances from that era, the Jingle Ball, things like that. What do you think, Cameron? How are you feeling about Lover? Because I'm very divided with this one.
Me too. I'm divided. I think, there's certain songs I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Not mainly because I'm not the biggest fan, but because they're just... We've heard them. It's me.
Yeah.
You Need to Calm Down.
Yeah.
The Archer.
Yeah.
I could quite happily not have those on tour.
Yeah.
They're not my favourite songs anyway, and we've had enough performances of them, especially me, where it's like, cool, yeah, done with that.
I get what you mean. Like, I know they're the big singles. I know they're the big singles. But because they were the big singles, they did have such a big moment. They had a lot of promotion to them three. Even Lover, which Lover is a beautiful song, and I would, it's an exception, right? But even if she decided to go for the more deep cuts on Lover instead of these big singles, and obviously the promotional single, which did, The Archer got its moment. Honestly, it really did.
Oh yeah, multiple performances.
Yeah, I don't mind. Like, I really don't mind if I didn't see them, you know?
Me too. Yeah, and like even with City of Lover, Paris, we've also got that on streaming, and obviously recently with the vinyl.
Yep.
So it's like those performances are available.
Exactly.
And quite readily available. So I just don't really see much of a need for them.
And what's nice about those performances is that she really did give us these full moments. Like, she gave us Me in all of its different facets, except for an acoustic version, which actually that would interest me. But yeah, she gave us, these different remix versions where she mashed things together.
Had Brendan, didn't have Brendan.
Exactly. So we have...
Did the spelling is fun, didn't do spelling
exactly. Did cool little changes to the songs. Oh, I really do think because they weren't that long ago. Like, it's 2019.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago when we did get a lot of them. I'd rather
even
see...
Same with You Need to Calm Down.
Yeah. Yeah, we got it. We got it in all its versions. Yeah, I know that they're the big songs, but I'd really rather see some of the other songs that we never got performances
100%.
for, especially Cruel Summer and Cornelia Street. Even though we have got Cornelia Street, but Cruel Summer.
100%. Cornelia Street, best song on Lover. Love it, love it, love it. Cruel Summer is up there, best song. You know what I mean? So, and I think that she was saving Cruel Summer
definitely
for Loverfest.
That was going to be a single.
That was going to be a single. That was going to be a promotional single during tour. I don't think the rumours of it supposedly having a music video, I don't believe that, but I do think that it was going to have a King of My Heart kind of moment on tour, and she was really saving it.
Yeah.
Either it was going to be the opener or it was going to be the big moment. I'm not sure, but I feel she was saving that, and I think that they might maybe reincorporate it. Maybe what they were planning to do for Loverfest, they might do on the Eras tour, because realistically, some of the ideas that they might have had for the Loverfest, they could implement on the Eras tour, because we'd never know if that was...
Of course not. No, we have... Well, so I think we know some things, like we mentioned, that we did discuss, but, we didn't know all the, small details of it all, and ideas for remixes, ideas for, what she'd want to organise the set list around, ideas for mashups, all of those things we have no idea about. And I do think that some of those ideas, she could easily bring them through, even though we have got 3 albums since then. But
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with you. Cruel Summer was going to be big for the tour.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I think, from Lover, my guess would be Cruel Summer.
Yes.
Probably Lover, the song. And maybe, like, Cornelia Street, or it might get, like, mashed. I think, like, it might have, like, a in and out, maybe, with, like, I don't know, like, the acoustic moment might be, like, Cornelia Street, or The Man, or...
Yeah.
I don't know, something else.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that, or, like, London Boy acoustic, I don't know, something like that. I think that is likely to happen. And I do think that she might, if she's going to do Lavender Haze, surely it would make sense, but... I think He Knows with it in some mashup form. I'm not sure though, because I think He Knows is like a deep, deep, deep cut.
I don't know though. I think it would be cool though, because it gives the Lover a little moment.
Me too.
And it mixes it with something new.
A moment. Exactly, yeah, something new that she's never performed. So I do think that is likely. I think Cruel Summer is like really...
Definitely.
I think stupid not to. Yeah. Like, she'd be so silly not to.
From Lover, I can see there being a few more than from previous, just because we haven't got Lover. Just like we said, Reputation is probably going to be snubbed because we did get almost like everything for such a long time.
Entirety,
yeah, from Lover, I do see some kind of standing out more than others. From the ones that haven't ever been performed before, like you just said, definitely agree with you with Cruel Summer. I think He Knows is there, and I'd love to hear it live. I don't know. The other ones, Paper Rings, Afterglow, It's Nice to Have a Friend, I Forgot That You Existed, Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince, all of those I'm not feeling. I think they would have had a place in the Lover Fest, but I think now...
And I think
maybe
they
not.
might maybe appear in an acoustic surprise song.
But not like a mainstay of the tour.
No.
No. So, yeah, I'm definitely feeling Lover, the song. I do feel that could have its moment, just because I think it is the representative.
I think that's just a lovely song.
Yeah. It is the representative song from the era, I think. Yeah. If I don't see, me, You Need to Calm Down, The Archer, I don't really care. If I don't see The Man, I'm not being like... There's just so much more I'd rather see, just because we haven't got it before.
Especially The Man, I'd prefer to see it in a full production.
Yes.
Than an acoustic.
If it was acoustic, I'm like not picky, but if it's full production,
I'd be like, cool, yeah, I'd much prefer it in that way. But again, I'm not really too bothered, because I feel like it had a bit of I don't know, even though she hasn't really done that many performances of it,
just a couple,
and they've only ever been acoustic, she's done like 2, I think, wasn't it? So for was it Tiny Desk and City of Lover, I think, were the 2.
Yep, I think so.
But I don't know, I just feel like, for me, there's so many other songs off of Lover that I would deserve, and that would be so much cooler. And I think, the ones that we've said, Cruel Summer, Lover, I think He Knows, and then like Cornelia Street, I think would be a good mix, and I think would go down quite well.
I agree. I love them as a little choice. I'll be
really disappointed if like Me takes.
I know, this is it.
If Cruel Summer doesn't make it.
It is not that because we've seen it so many times. Like I get it. It's just a big moment, and I know that's very it's really subjective and a bit hypocritical of us, because we did say, like, especially me, because I was like, shake it off. It needs to be there. But I think it's just different, because Shake It Off is just like a staple. Everyone knows it. It is the song from the era, and even though we've got it, she still finds a way. Even though we've had Shake It Off many times, Taylor still finds a way to make it new and fresh, and in every era, which haven't been that many eras that we've got Shake It Off, to be honest with you. Obviously 1989, Reputation, and Lover, if we count it.
That's true, actually.
So it's not been that long,
it feels
really.
Like we've had it for longer.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, in Reputation, she did it with and also for her Lover AMA's Artist of the Decade, she did it kind of in this, exactly, and I loved that. So if she could find a way, or even to combine Shake It Off with, for example, Blank Space, like she did in that same performance, in the AMA's Artist of the Decade performance, cut them both down, but give us a taste of those big hits. However, because Me and You Need to Calm Down are so recent, and we saw so much of them. Like, I've seen every single one of those Me performances, and they was about 10 or 12. And it gets to a point where I was like, okay, but Lover has so much more.
How many more pastels?
Exactly, Lover has so much more to give us. And I really, I'd rather her cut back on those ones to give us the big ones from Lover, like Cruel Summer.
100%. And what I would like to say, though, is, in terms of, like, Lover songs, I would love her to perform, like, London Boy when she eventually announces international dates. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bit like with Midnights, where if she does perform in, say, Paris,
she's got to do Paris.
For the love of her, you've got to
do it.
So it's like those kind of things I'd love.
Welcome to New York in New York. Song. It has to be there. Like
exactly,
it just has
100%.
To be there.
And obviously, we did even have London Boy for the Jingle Bell Ball in London in the O2 anyway. So things like that, I think, is cool.
Definitely.
But in terms of the staples, I'm feeling Lover, Cruel Summer. I think he knows. Cornelia Street. And also that is maybe being a bit biased, because those are probably some of my favourites off of Lover, but
I agree. There are also my favourites there. So I do agree with you. Obviously, there's some deep cuts that I would like to see. I'll mention one in our upcoming episode about mashups, which I have mentioned to you before, which will be exciting to talk about. But for now, I completely agree with you. And that does mean that we're even kind of not giving moments to these songs that she's never played before. But again, we are trying to limit ourselves with the thought of, you can't play, realistically, there's about 20 to 25 songs you're going to be able to play, including mashup songs. And realistically, you've got a discography of hundreds of songs, some that no one has ever heard in any form, like, Folklore Evermore. So, yeah.
And also, talking about songs that she hasn't performed live, obviously we mentioned there's other Lover songs from this era, so things like Only the Young, Beautiful Ghosts, How Are You Feeling about those?
Yeah, through all the eras, there's always a few little singly moments that we've got that we haven't really been discussing, because we've just been sticking to the main albums and main releases, because if not, it would be like crazy. But I do think we may get them. Again, I feel like those are the type of songs that we get for like surprise sections, like when she used to do the acoustics of when she hadn't released herself, Better Man, or This Is What You Came For, or stuff like that. I think that no mainstays from them, I really don't think, but maybe acoustic-y surprise moments.
I don't really think we'll see, especially like Beautiful Ghost. I just can't really imagine her. Like, it's almost like that song is never really ever mentioned by anyone. It's almost like that song is just like forgotten about.
It's
like
kind of similar.
Every so often I'll shuffle
to Carolina.
Like, what? I forgot about this.
Like Carolina had its moment, and I know that there was someone who commented. I saw it very quickly the other day, but I saw someone commenting that they'd love to see a mashup that included Carolina. And though I love to see people out there supporting these songs because they are the hidden gems within the discography, I really don't know if we're going to get moments for them. I'd love to see it, but I quite like Only the Young. I've always weirdly quite liked. I know it's not really a fun song, but I've quite. It's a good one. The
chorus.
It makes sense.
I don't think it will really. It's a bit like Safe and Sound, Eyes Open.
Right, kind of things. But we have got surprise performances of those songs, though.
Very true. Very true.
Even I Don't Want to Live Forever.
You never know. Yes, that had a weird little bit of a moment.
It did.
The kind of Super Saturday Night and the like Formula One performances.
Yeah, and that was kind of like the surprise performance acoustic moment.
Even the drag over into Reputation, that song had a moment, because like at the Jingle Bell Balls and stuff, she was performing. That was like the acoustic moment, like pre Reputation.
Yeah, you're right.
Like during the Look What You Made Me Do kind of era as such, like Look When We Do, Ready for It, Gorgeous, when those are the kind of songs. The acoustic moment was I Don't Want to Live Forever, which and which again has never really been touched since. So I wonder if that might maybe appear. But it is interesting. I think with Lover though, I think those are kind of guesses, and I think that those I'd be really happy with.
Definitely, I think we're being subjective.
It's hard now.
We're being subjective, but at the same point, a little realistic, thinking of all of the performances that we did get not too long ago. So I definitely agree with you. There are other things that I'd love to see. I'd love to see Death by a Thousand Cuts again, even though we did see it. It was so good.
Oh gosh, yeah. Actually, I'd totally forgotten about that. Yeah.
I'd love to see False God and Afterglow as well, honestly. But
I think like Death by a Thousand Cuts, as I mentioned earlier, could be like flipped in and out with Say Cornelia Street.
Yeah,
those
maybe.
kind of songs.
Maybe. I
think there might be elements of rotation. But hopefully. I totally forgot about Death by a Thousand Cuts. It's like one of my favourites.
Just Lover is a very long and dense album, honestly. 18 tracks.
Exactly,
so there's a lot going on.
It's such a variety. Thank you for listening. We've now come to the end of this episode, and from our discussions, those seem like the most realistic Lover songs that will appear on the Eras tour. If you did enjoy this episode, make sure to like and subscribe over on YouTube, and also follow us over on Instagram at Swiftly Spoken Podcast, and make sure to check in with us again next week as we discuss Folklore and Evermore.